skills, be the boss. No more time to feel lost. Lead the way every day. Find success, it's here to stay. Rise and shine, it's your time. Skill up, raise the climb. Navigate, innovate. It's your fate, don't be late. Get the skills, be the boss. No more time to feel lost. Lead the way every day. Find success, it's here to stay.
If you're a new manager or hoping to be a new manager, join us in our exploration into what managers need to know. This program will set you up for success by building your knowledge and confidence in the skills you need to be effective. Hello, and welcome to What Managers Need to Know. And this is Deb Laurel, and we're going to be looking at motivation, how we create a motivational environment for our employees. So if you're listening, if you'd introduce yourself in comments, that would be lovely. And let's get into it. The purpose of this program is to help managers, particularly new managers, get the skills they need to be effective. And hopefully you are finding that the series on delegation, the series on coaching for poor performance have been helpful for you. A little bit about me. I taught for the Executive Management Institute and the Small Business Development Center at the University of Wisconsin-Madison School of Business for 30 years. And I've been a workplace learning and performance improvement consultant with my own business for 38 years. So what we're going to be looking at in the next 5 weeks is motivational skills. We're going to begin today by looking at your needs, because if your needs aren't met, it's very difficult for you to meet the needs of your employees. Then we'll look at primary motivators, the motivational tools that you can use both on the 3rd week and the 4th week. And then on the 5th week, how to encourage employees and for you to assess whether or not you have done what you need to do to create a motivational environment for your employees. So first of all, how many of you feel highly motivated on the job? Please raise your virtual hand in the reaction section if your answer is yes to this and the following question. Because if you don't feel highly motivated on the job, we have a problem. How many of you have difficulty motivating your employees? I expect more hands there. Well, I welcome you, and we will look at your needs. So as I go through these questions or these statements, see how they apply to you in terms of, are you getting what you need? And be thinking about how your employees might be answering this. So first, I know what is expected of me at work. So I have a job description. I know what my performance expectations are. I have the materials and equipment I need to do my work, because obviously without those resources, it may be hard to meet deadlines. It may be hard to meet expectations. I have the opportunity to do what I do best every day at work. Have you taken the time to think about your own strengths, and what about the strengths of your employees? Are you playing to their strengths? I feel respected. Now, what does it take for you to feel respected? To be listened to have your ideas acknowledged and validated, to be recognized for the work that you do? However you define feeling respected, think about your employees too. Do they feel respected? Do they get your attention? Do they feel that they matter? 5, I have adequate autonomy, meaning I have the freedom to make decisions necessary to fulfill my job responsibilities. Very often, as we discussed in the first series looking at delegation, managers are uncomfortable providing delegated decision-making authority. Have your supervisors given you sufficient authority? And do you give sufficient authority to your employees? 6, I'm given constructive and timely feedback. This means that somebody cares, that somebody is not watching over you in a negative way, but someone who is concerned about your being successful. And are you doing the same for your employees? Or do you wait until some formal evaluation time and slam them? Hopefully that's not something that you do. I'm able to make mistakes and learn from them. There are certainly organizations where making mistakes is not acceptable, but those are not organizations that are very creative and that are thriving. Because if we can't try new things and sometimes make mistakes, how do we learn? How do we grow? In the last 7 days, I have received recognition or praise for doing good work. It doesn't matter if you are a high performer who's used to doing things well, you still need to hear that you're validated and that your work is recognized. And that's true for all employees. We need to feel that we count, that we make a difference, and that somebody knows that and recognizes that. So in the last 7 days, have you provided recognition or praise for your employees? 9, my manager or someone at work seems to care about me as a person. I had a wonderful manager who would walk through the building and be asking about children and asking about recent sporting events and things that were meaningful to us. And it showed that he cared about us as persons. There is someone at work who encourages my development. It's one thing to be given work assignments that are part of your job description, but who is talking to you about building new skills that prepare you for future positions? And are you doing that with your employees? I'm sufficiently informed. It's very hard to make decisions if you don't have sufficient information. And there are unfortunately some managers who hoard information. So do you hoard information or do you give that information to your employees? And I'm sufficiently informed when things are happening in the organization that could possibly affect me. Am I being told about them so I don't worry, or so the gossip mill doesn't, and rumor mill doesn't make it worse than it is? I'm given opportunities to offer input on decisions. Now, we're not talking about every decision that your upper management might make, but are you valued enough? Is your expertise and knowledge valued enough so that you are asked for your input? And you do that for your employees? My opinions seem to count. The mission and purpose of my unit makes me feel that my job is important. We all want to make a difference. We all need to see how what we do contributes to achieving the mission of the organization. I have a wonderful story about an organization. This was at Parker Penn in Janesville, Wisconsin, when they were still there. And there was a group being given a tour, and they were asking people down the line what it was they did. And they got to a woman who was seated at a bench. And this is Parker Penn. So what she was doing is she was buffing the clip that goes on the pen and then placing it on the pen and putting the pen with buffed clip into a box. And it was obvious what she was doing, but it was also obvious that they had asked everyone else. So they asked her, expecting her to say, I put the clips on the pens. That's not what she said. What she said was, I'm responsible for the image of Parker Penn. Because if these clips aren't buffed so that they shine, and if they're not exactly in alignment, then when the person who puts them in their pocket, it's not going to look proper. And she was right. She was absolutely right. And someone had taken the time to take a job that could seem very routine and very mundane and give her pride in what she does. So she can go to the job knowing that her job is important. And notice if somebody needs her in packing, for example, she's going to go there because she doesn't want her perfectly aligned buffed pens packaged in a way that ruins that alignment. 15, my fellow supervisors and managers are committed to doing quality work. Is this true? Do you feel that they rise above petty squabbles and siloed interests and are concerned about doing a good job? I feel connected to others in my organization. That can be harder if you have a remote work environment. But do you feel connected? Do you talk with others, either over Zoom or face to face? Do you feel that you have your posse, your group of folks? There was at the Wisconsin Department of Transportation, I went there once to do an audit, a personnel audit, and they had a Thanksgiving feast with all the fixings laid out there because this was around Thanksgiving, obviously. And it was a family feeling. They had worked together for a long time. They enjoyed each other's company, and they had liked to celebrate together. In the past year, I have had opportunities at work to learn and grow. And how did those opportunities occur? Were you given delegated assignments that helped stretch you? Were you allowed to go to classes that helped you learn new skills? Were you placed to represent your unit or organization in some task force where new skills were needed and could be applied? So we've been looking at an assessment for you, and I'm hoping that you're saying yes to most of those questions. But what general factors motivate you to do your best performance on the job? For example, is it the challenge, the variety of work, self-satisfaction? What is your primary motivator? And is it currently being satisfied on your job? If not, how can you make that happen? Oh, Tabitha, hello. You like seeing the outcome. So the outcome, the results of what you're doing. So think about your own motivators. As we look into motivators for employees in our second session, we're going to put a name to some of these motivators. But think about what is most important for you. Because what is most important for you may not at all be what is most important for your employees, either individually or as a group. And when we think about rewarding employees for performance, very often, if we are motivated by challenge, we might feel that the best way to reward an employee is to give them a challenge. And that employee may not be motivated by challenges at all. So know what you're motivated by, and then make sure that you have what you need. Because as I mentioned at the very beginning, if you are not motivated, how can you possibly create a motivational environment for your employees? Tabitha says, yes, I like putting things together with a focused intention and then learning how well I put it together and the other outcomes that come without my focus. So seeing the results and seeing those results multiply, you've given it some incentive and inertia, and it keeps on going. Wonderful. Thank you, Tabitha. So time for discussion and questions. Do you have any? All right. Hearing none. What is your key takeaway? I'm hoping that it has something to do with whether or not you feel you are sufficiently motivated on the job and what you need to do so that that is satisfied. Oh, there is a question. How do you suggest we go about finding the right motivation for the job? Finding the right motivation for the job. Tabitha, can you be a little bit more clear about that? In whatever job we are working on. Well, regardless of the job that we're working on, we all have some primary motivators. Your motivation is apparently to see things come together and feel that they've come together well and that they're going to continue to proceed with other outcomes that are just as important and well put together. For me, I think it's a challenge of new learning. So regardless of the job that I'm in, I'm always going to be looking for those challenges. So we take the motivation with us, regardless of the job. Now, the job can satisfy some of those motivators more easily than others. And if we're in a job that is not satisfying us, then hopefully we either leave that job and find another one, or we find another way to be satisfied. And I guess that's what you're getting at, Tabitha. Another way to be satisfied. And that's a darn good question. I think that we have to be true to ourselves. If I'm in a job where I can no longer be challenged, it's going to be very hard for me to be highly motivated. I'm going to have to seek those challenges outside the job, possibly asking for training, possibly asking to serve on a task force or a committee where some of my motivational needs will be met. So I don't know that I'm able to answer that sufficiently, Tabitha. It's a darn good question. All right. Your key takeaway. So I don't want to put Tabitha on the spot here with this. We've been talking about your motivational needs and what you can do to satisfy them, and just being aware of whether or not you are motivated on the job as a manager. What we will look at next week, next Tuesday at 10 o'clock Central Time, is the primary motivators that motivate 99% of your employees. So I'm hoping that you will have to join us, that you will be willing to join us. Tabitha said, we have to find the one thing that motivates and makes you want to do great things. Oh, yes. I didn't copy the right thing. We have to find the one thing that motivates and makes you want to do great things. Yes. Thank you, Tabitha. Okay. So my mouse is going all over the place, and I'm obviously not getting anywhere good. So let me go here. Thank you so much for coming and participating in our discussion of what managers need to know. You can find the videos of this and previous sessions on my YouTube channel or under events on my LinkedIn profile. I'll look forward to seeing you again next week.
Get the skills, be the boss, no more time to feel lost. Lead the way, every day, find success, it's here to stay. Get the skills, be the boss, no more time to feel lost. Lead the way, every day, find success, it's here to stay. It's here to stay. Oh, it's here to stay. It's here to stay. Yeah. Get the skills, be the boss, no more time to feel lost.